Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. So, we have had an interesting morning here at our house. The weather has actually improved a great deal since last week. Last week, if you'll recall, we got down to 8 below zero. And today we are up in the mid-40s. In fact, on Monday, it's supposed to go up into the mid to high 50s. I just don't get it. When I was a kid in New England, we all knew what the temperature was like in Maine. And we used to say that Maine had two seasons, winter and August. And by the way, for those of you outside the U.S. who may not be familiar with Maine, it is the northernmost state on the East Coast, right underneath Canada, and Maine has a glacier. A real glacier. I know, I've seen it. So yeah, we are sort of the opposite of Maine. We have two seasons. We have summer and January. So we're getting out of January now and we're moving back to summer because almost immediately the weather starts changing, like even in February, which is very much a surprise. So, starting with the Audie news, it's been drizzly, and in fact, my lights outside went on at 1 p.m., and these lights are on a daylight sensor, so they go on when the sun goes down. Apparently the sun went down at 1 in the afternoon. So it's dark, it's gloomy, it's drizzly, it's very warm. But Audie doesn't like the rain. That's all my fault. We've talked about that before. He doesn't like it and he blames me. So he is still peering out the windows, staring at all the snow in all the neighbors' yards. They have snow, we don't. My yard always clears out first, and Audie has finally worked this out. If they have snow and we don't have snow, they must be stealing our snow. They're clearly coming over in the dead of night when we're in bed, and they're taking our snow and bringing it back home with them. So I'm starting to worry that because, obviously he's a serious dude. So I'm afraid he's going to avail himself of a little frontier justice and see if he can't haul the shotgun out from under the bed and go pay them a visit. So needless to say, I am frisking him before he leaves the house now. And the great thing about a cat, by the way, is frisking a cat and petting a cat are remarkably similar. So I frisk Audie and his only reaction is, "Oh, please do that again." So I get a chance to pat him down before I let him go outdoors, make sure he's not squirreling away any hidden weapons, and then he gets to go out. So far, so good. We'll have to hope this works out for a while. But right now, he's still sulking about the neighbors, sulking about the rain, and not at all happy. So, but like I say, he's right behind me. He's just sleeping on this chair. Did I say that? Well, he is. And hopefully he will make an appearance. Next up, yellow. And the yellow is in the sweater. For Catherine, for Lex's mom, for everybody coping with cancer. We are wishing you the very, very best. So, an explanation of why I am filming this from a rather odd angle, and that is this. This is a gift from Anne, and you all know Anne. You see her in the comments section all the time. And Anne sent me a dozen roses today in order to cheer me up. And we will talk about that later because obviously it's like the elephant in the room that I didn't even realize was there. But a beautiful, beautiful dozen roses. So I'm going to have to move them. So get your look right now, because if I try to film a whole video, you gotta know the way I use my hands when I talk, I'm gonna knock them over. So I am going to pick these up, relocate them. We're gonna take a look at the intro, and I'll be back in 22 seconds. Oh, wait, no, I won't. All right, come on. You can get up here, but I need you to get up. Audie managed to very deftly crawl between me and the roses and didn't knock anything over, so I think he deserves a round of applause, and I'm going to put him down and frisk him very carefully so he will enjoy that. We'll be back in 22 seconds. I'm going to put you down. Okay, I'm back. Now, the lighting does look a little difficult as far as I can tell. As most of you know, I've been experimenting with new cameras, different cameras, and hopefully I'll get this one to work. But Audie is in my lap, in case you hadn't noticed. And so, yeah, come here. Do you want to get up on my shoulder? No, not yet. Usually he prefers to be up on my shoulder, but I think right now, we got the tail thing going, and that ordinarily seems to satisfy him. Let me see, can I scoot you off? I don't think that's going to last. Whenever I pop him off my lap, he usually decides he wants to come back. But when he leaves on his own, then everything is good. So, yep, he's right back at my feet. He is coming back. So we'll deal with that when we have to deal with it. So I thought today would be a viewer input video. Anne had sent the flowers because she had sent me an email asking me if I was okay. She said that I had seemed a little down last weekend. And she was right. I was. I didn't realize I was communicating that to you folks. That's not what I want to do. I am not here to bring you down. I am here to make you smile. So let me just quickly explain. This is nothing serious. As most of you know, I am on the countdown for my knee replacement surgery, scheduled for 7 weeks. And believe me, I would be delighted if it had happened 7 weeks ago. I think what's happening is the whole hurry up and wait process is finally starting to wear on me a little more than it should. I should be feeling terrific about this. Oh yeah, 7 weeks, we're on the countdown. This is going to be resolved soon enough. But somehow it just doesn't feel that way. And I have been a little sort of low affect because of it. It's, you know how you wait for a long time for something and, it's just so close. You can almost taste it, but it's not quite there yet. Yeah, that's the mental state I'm in. So I am, in fact, going to watch out for that. I'm going to try to keep that in check because that is not something I want to communicate to you folks. But just to be fair, yes, it's been an unnecessarily long process. Part of it is COVID. That certainly cost me 2 years in this long journey for the surgery. And all of the other stuff that sort of didn't fall into place the way it should have. And other than that, things are going well. My doctor had told me he wanted me to lose weight because, my goodness, I gained weight because I can't go out and get exercise. Hello. Now, I wonder if it ever occurred to them that maybe if they just took care of the knee, the weight loss would take care of itself. Well, apparently it didn't. So I ended up having to lose some weight. I'm not sure why. I have other doctors saying, no, that's not right. You did not weigh too much to go into surgery. Plenty of people who weighed more get surgery. But the particular doctor that I'm going for, he did have that restriction. So, lost the weight even without being able to get exercise. Thank you very much. And I am still losing weight, so this is a good thing. I should be delighted. The surgery is right around the corner. I should be delighted. But I think what it is it's just finally all of that waiting has sort of started to catch up with me. So, my apologies if I am communicating that to you. It is just a blip on the screen. It is a momentary period of irritation and frustration and things not falling into place as quickly as I think they should have. So, again, apologies. And I'm so glad that Anne picked up on it and pointed it out to me because, a good friend is the person who points out stuff to you that other people will say, oh, I'm not going to say that, that would be rude. No, a good friend will say it and say, I don't care if I'm being rude, I'm being a good friend first. So, thank you, Anne. Oh, and by the way, I did not think it was at all rude. The way Anne phrased it, I could see she was just coming from a place of warmth and compassion and support. So I did not feel in the least criticized or the least bit defensive. And in fact, because I had the opportunity to articulate this all to Anne first and sort of throw it out there, wrap my head around what was going on for me, that's what enabled me to take this to you. So that's like number one on our viewer input. Let me go over to number two because this is a good deal cheerier. And this is an email I received from Laura Wade. Again, if you follow the comments, you will have noticed comments from Laura. And Laura writes, Hi, Sue. I've really been enjoying your vlogs and the adventures of Audie. I am still banned from YouTube. Speech police got me, so I'd love to drop you another email. Concerning your video about wardrobe colors, once I figured out my own aesthetic and color preferences, the rest was easy. So yeah, Laura worked out a strategy, and this is something that is working for her. So she shared it with me. I am sharing it with you. I have divided my closet into 3 categories: nautical, jewel tones, and black. I love the ocean. In my nautical section, I hang all my clothes that are white, soft shades of blue, red, gray, and pink. All these shades harmonize together. And she's absolutely right. They do. They're the pastels, especially lighter shades of red, blue, and green, gray, pink, all of them will just sort of shift in together. I could get dressed in the dark from this section, and it would always look smart. In this section, I also pull all those ivory, navy, and blood red shades from Napoleon's garb. You get the drift. And it all works together, and I feel happy in colors that remind me of the ocean, adding a bit of French ooh la la. So yeah, and I totally get the Napoleon thing, because here in the US, the colors that we tend to associate with nautical themes and settings tend to be red, white, and blue. And it's not just, it's the colors of our flags. I think a lot of it comes from the colors of our lighthouses, because most lighthouses have stripes, so that when you're out on the ocean, you can differentiate between the different lighthouses because of the bright paint jobs. So yeah, I think that's where a lot of them come from. But red, white, and blue are common colors in any nautical themed design, whether it's a pattern on a blouse or a throw pillow in your living room. Those are very, very common nautical colors. Let's get back to the email. Jewel tones are self-explanatory: vibrant emeralds, purples, bright blues, etc. I wear these shades when I feel confident. And then finally, black. I wear these for formal events, sad occasions, or when I'm feeling fat. Okay, you got to give me a second because I got to stop and giggle at that one. We all do that when we're feeling fat. Okay, so Laura, you're not alone. I don't know if any of this helps, but by creating 3 sections in the closet, it makes getting dressed easier. Choosing oceanic, maritime, nautical as my neutral expresses my soul. Do you have a thematic preference? By the way, I really don't, other than dark academia. Colors in the forest, I think, would flatter you. And fortunately for me, those colors fit right into dark academia. Greens, soft browns, lake blues. By the way, I am predominantly English, German, Danish, with a bit of Native American, Yaqui Indian in my blood. So I am not as fair as you, but I was a tow-headed child. The combination of soft pastel pink and gray is an aesthetic I love. I want to create more of that look. Also, and here she's going back to a previous email. Remember, I sent you a video and some emails about Joseph the cat. Just to refresh, he was a very starved, sickly, feral kitty who I've been feeding and caring for. Long story short, day after Christmas, we found blood on the carpet and noticed he had a silver dollar-sized wound on his back left leg. He spent the cold nights inside. We took him immediately to the vet. He had surgery, vaccines, neutered, medicines, etc., and is on the mend. An infected abscess had ruptured. Ugh, shivery. He also tested positive for FIV, and that's feline leukemia, basically. So he is now an official Wade and lives indoors with me. I have to say, I want to puke cleaning his litter box, but that's my issue, not his. I'm trying to adapt to this new reality in a small 1-bedroom apartment. I love the dickens out of him. I have recommended your channel to my nieces, Facebook friends, and siblings. Well, thank you, Laura. They are all very, very welcome in our community. I know they enjoy you too. All my best to you and everyone you love. So that means all my viewers. A hug and cuddle for Audie, and great appreciation and fondness for you. Thank you for sharing your time, wisdom, wit, empathy in a world and place that really needs people like you. That is so sweet. All my sincerest wishes for your happiness, Laura Wade. So, my reason for sharing this should be obvious. Laura has found a way to sort out her wardrobe and to give herself room for variety, for changing moods, changing seasons, changing weight, and she's found something that works for her because she started with a theme. And that theme was nautical. It's just that simple. She likes the beach, great. I think she's really latched onto a good system because if the nautical backdrop provides her with all of her neutrals and, yes, it would, obviously. All right, do you want to come here or not? What? No, he wants to sit right here and headbutt me. Oh, I think he's going back to sleep on the chair. All right, that's good. So the nauticals provide her with a neutral backdrop for the jewel tones, and clearly, everybody says black goes with everything, and I think you can make black work with everything, but I do not think black goes with everything any more than I think white goes with everything. I really don't. You won't find clashes in color, but you will find clashes in temperature, in vibe, in feel. So that's one of the reasons, well, I've got several, but that's one of the reasons that I'm hesitant to throw a lot of black or white into my wardrobe, because they just don't match the feel. I find them to be more stark and more cold. I don't want to say warm or cool, because that creates different impressions in people's minds. I find them to be more cold, more clinical, more stiff colors. And I know they can easily be combined with other colors to take the edge off that. But for me, it's just how I view them. And consequently, the appeal isn't there. However, it's clearly there for Laura. So she's got this nice neutral backdrop. The jewel tones can slide in. And yeah, I bet she can get dressed in the dark out of that closet. But again, it's a system that she created and made it work for her. Now, she asked me about what my sort of theme is, and it is dark academia. It was dark academia before there was any such term. That was how I dressed back in the 80s. I was not alone, because I've shown you pictures before. Fran Lebowitz, she's been dressing this way for as long as I can remember. And seeing as I remember back in the 1980s, I can remember back a long time. It was a certain style choice that was largely dependent on a very scholarly academic look. A lot of tweed, well, I was going to say a lot of pipe smoke, but not necessarily for women. Yeah, the guys, they were smoking pipes. Everybody was smoking something back in the 80s. Trust me on this. I was there. I do remember. But it's a different vibe. It's more organic. And as a consequence, black and white don't tend to blend smoothly into an organic theme. So black and white are the colors of machinery, buildings, concrete, although obviously they're not, but that's what the images in my head are. They are not the colors of the woods and the meadows. And a dark academia palette is the colors of the woods and the meadows. So that's why they don't really work for me. However, look at all the other themes you can have around your life. You could really like a sort of cottagecore look, and that is very organic. It's more frilly. You've got more flowers, more chintz, more combined prints and patterns, and those could be your neutrals. There is no reason in the world that your favorite pink and blue floral Laura Ashley dress could not be your neutral, because you can use it as such. Just pick out the colors from that dress and you can start structuring a wardrobe around it. Your neutrals do not have to be dull. They do not have to be black and white and gray. Mine are not. Obviously, Laura's are, at least to a certain extent. But her neutrals are also pink and blue and ocean colors. So I think the lesson here is not to get stuck or caught up on other people's notions of how these colors and design themes work. Laura has sort of trodden her own path. Fantastic. And she's sharing that with us, so we can end up doing the same. Like I say, that's sort of the direction I'm going in already, although I never thought of it in these terms. I never thought of my neutral palette as dark academia, but it is. There's no two ways around it. It's browns and beiges and olive greens. It's a bit of navy. That's where it's at. And it is sort of my neutral ranges. I'm glad I have a new way of looking at this. So thank you, Laura. But again, you could be cottagecore. You could be like pseudo-punk with fluorescent neon colors. That could be what appeals to you. Your neutrals could be fuchsia and electric blue. It's just a question of how you utilize those colors in your wardrobe. And I can easily see taking some insanely bold colors, just crazy out there colors. And that's because I'm a child of the 60s, so yeah, I grew up on crazy colors. You take those, they become the central focus of your wardrobe, and all of a sudden, they are your neutrals. They are the colors that are in your wardrobe to support other colors, other patterns, other designs. There's no reason why you cannot make this work. I have known people who were like into that jewel tone range, but their neutral was red, like fire engine red. That was the backbone of their wardrobe, and they used it like a neutral. For them, red was what brown is for me, what black is for Laura, what white or gray is for someone else. It's the glue that holds everything together. It's the backdrop on which you splash other designs. And if we look at our neutrals in our wardrobe from that perspective, it opens up a whole world for us. I have been guilty of this myself, and this is one of the reasons I loved Laura's email so much. I have been guilty of thinking a neutral must be dull. I really have. Mind you, I like dull, so dull is fine with me. But that was my thinking. When someone said neutral, I thought dull. I thought, okay, that's the basis of my wardrobe, but I'm going to go get a scarf and throw a pop of color in it. Well, maybe I shouldn't be thinking of it that way. Oh yeah, the scarves are a pop of color, they're a pop of pattern, but that doesn't mean everything else has to be dull. It's not a question of, I'm only going to drag out that bright scarf if I'm wearing, brown slacks and an off-white shirt. I could be wearing a red shirt and want that scarf even more because it'll help me tie the red into something else. Who knows? But I love this way of looking at colors. And I love the idea of grabbing a theme. And there are just so many themes out there these days. Toddler grandma. That's a cute one. I don't know if that's still fashionable anymore. It was maybe 10 years ago. It was a sort of, well, like I said, toddler grandma is the term I've always used in association with that. But it's things like cute, funky handbags, a handbag shaped like a telephone or a pig. I saw a handbag shaped like a pig. And it's cute, it's quirky, it's fun and delightful. That could be your chosen aesthetic. Other things are like boho. Oh boy. And if you go for boho, you have a world of colors. And if you go for boho, you can pretty much throw those colors together willy-nilly and it'll look great because it'll match the vibe. So yes, choose your aesthetic. And you've probably got plenty of aesthetics I haven't even thought of. By the way, let me know in the comments, what is your particular aesthetic? If you open your closet, what jumps out at you? You open Laura's closet and nautical, lighthouse, Napoleon Bonaparte are going to pop out at you. That is going to be what will jump at you, you'll see the aesthetic. Mine, dark academia. Trust me, you open my closet, that is the only thing you are going to see from this. No mistaking it for anything else. And as I say, that the joke of this is that this was not a style back in the 80s when I started doing it. Well, it was my style, but it wasn't an official style. It was a little bit of Fran Lebowitz, a little bit of Annie Hall, a little bit of Kelly McGillis from Top Gun, a little bit of all kinds of stuff that just jumbled together and said, I'm casual, but I'm serious. And that's what I was looking for. Other people are looking for more fun, more frivolous things, and I love that. I totally appreciate that. Like I say, toddler grandma, when I started seeing women my age dressing like that, oh gosh, it made me want to dance in the streets because it was so much fun. And all I could think of was, can you just imagine being a small child and walking past someone like that on the street, in the grocery store, in the mall? You'd probably be thinking storybook grandma. So, hey, whatever works for you. And there are so many. But I think this is a brilliant wardrobe organizational strategy. And because it's not built around colors, it's built around an aesthetic, a feel, a vibe. What is this communicating to you? How do you respond to this? You're not bound by any of the standard color choices. If somebody says to you, well, orange doesn't go well with maroon, well, too bad, because in your boho world it might. So I think it's a much better way to approach this. I like the fact that there's an allowance for the human factor. There's an allowance for us as individuals, for our experience to manifest itself. So that is what I wanted to share with you. Yeah, my bad boy has come back because, of course, he did. There we go. He's back. All right. He did not want to leave, and I think I kind of forced him away, which he doesn't like. So he's always back when he's been forced out of the picture. Do you want to come here. I'm going to pop you up on this shoulder. I know that's not your favorite shoulder, but can you stay there for a minute? Not his favorite shoulder, obviously. Laura also spoke briefly about her cat. I am so glad that that poor homeless kitty found a good home, especially because the kitty is not well. And obviously, it takes a very special person to adopt a sickly cat. Bless you, Laura. We are all pulling for you. Trust me, this is a community of animal lovers, in case you hadn't noticed. But yes, I think that was wonderful, and I just don't have enough kind things to say about people who will take in homeless animals. I did not take in Audie, by the way. He moved in all on his own, so I can't take credit for rescuing him. Basically, he kind of rescued me. So, I don't know. I'm not sure how happy as a human being I could be if I didn't have my crazy little guy here. So I am hoping that Laura's new little fur baby will bring the same joy into her life. All right, we're going to close off now. I think I'm probably a little bit over time, but sorry. Try to do better next time. Well, I always say that. I always promise myself I'll try to do better next time. Somehow, I never quite seem to manage. But apologies for being a little over the time. we are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. We're going to look at some of Anne's castles because we got a chance to look at Anne's roses. So yeah, let's look at the castles too. One of these days, I promise you all this before I cash in my chips, I am going to Scotland. I am going to see those castles for myself. I am going to check into a hotel, give them my name, and they are not going to ask me how to spell it. Yeah, I'll bring Audie. Actually, I can't bring Audie, unfortunately. I'd like to, because he's a little Hamilton cat too, so where else should he be but Scotland? But actually, I really would. See, people talk about going over and they say, I want to go see London. I do not. I want to see the countryside. I want to see the rural roads and the rural pubs, and I want to see people's backyards. I do not want to see Buckingham Palace or that what is it, that Gherkin building, that building shaped like a pickle. It's got a name, and it's not Pickle Building, but that's what I always think. A beautiful sapphire blue pickle in the middle of London. I'm sure that keeps Charles up at night. I know he has always hated that sort of inconsistent architecture. I can only imagine what he must think every time he sees that building. I think it's delightful. All right. Slideshow. See you next time. Meanwhile, have a terrific day.